Where do you want your children to be? Do you want them to understand, to imitate Christ? Do you want them to understand and to speak faith in your family? Or do you want to lead an example where Christ is optional, church is optional, service is optional, and go do whatever you want to do? Well, if that's the case, then Proverbs really doesn't mean anything to you. Because train a child in the way that it should go. Again, train means action, okay? You think about things for jobs, right? You go to a job, what do they call it? Training, right? You either have on-the-job training or they send you to take classes to train. And what are they doing? They are teaching you how to do the job. Well, guess what? This book will teach you how to do the job. All right? Husbands, you're supposed to be the leaders of the house. You are supposed to lead your children. You are supposed to lead your wives. Understand this, though. And I want to make this very clear. That whole submissive part, that doesn't mean the wife does whatever you tell her to do. That means, because notice what Christ said, all right? Because guys, again, we get the tough part, right? So back to Job, be a man and take it. But we get the tough part because what does he say about our wives? That we are to love our wives as Christ loved the church, even so much that he died for it. Now, is that domineering and do what I say and I'm the man? Absolutely not. What was the imitation of Christ? Again, we talked about this in Sunday school. Meekness, loving, guiding, showing. Again, how do you want your children to be raised up? I had a conversation with a friend of mine earlier in the week, and he said, my gosh, man, he said, I cannot imagine the life that our kids are going to be living when they grow up to be our age. But you know where the responsibility lies? It lies with you and it lies with me. Because if we train our children in the way they should go now, society will change. Why is society the way that it is now? Because we had the hippie movement and we had the rebellious age of the 70s and 80s. And what are people doing now? Cancel culture. Go back and read your history books. It's there. You see it. We had this rebellion of God and church. We had this movement of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And where is our society now? As far away from God as it possibly could be. We're living a Sodom and Gomorrah type age because we have failed in the home first. I tell people that serve on leadership, there is a chain of command that God has given us through the Word of God. It is God, family, church, and it needs to be in that order. You answer to God, you speak with God, you listen to His Word, you lead your family, and then your family then comes and leads in the church. That's the chain of command. So, as we're kind of wrapping this up, because we do have a baby dedication to get to, grandparents, I'm not going to leave you out. Because you got a place too, right? Your job's not done because the kids are all grown up, right? I aggravate my brother all the time because he's a pawpaw, right? I'm like, brother, you getting old, man. You're a pawpaw. He don't really like that a whole lot, but it's okay. But grandparents, you got a job too. And this isn't very popular, but Brian, go back to Ephesians. Ephesians 31. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and shall be joined unto his wife. Grandparents, you know what your job is? Love your son or daughter. Love their family. Love those grandbabies. And stay out of the way. And we're laughing, but that's a tough one. Because you know what happens? We see this situation where grandparents, a lot of times, you hinder the father's opportunity to lead because when they come to your house, hey, I know daddy says it over here, but at our house, we're going to do it this way. We call that division. All right? So, grandparents, you get the easiest job ever. You love them. You give them all kinds of candy and sugar them up. Let them come and spend the night. That's a great thing, right? Give mom and dad a night out. Let them come spend the night. Have all kinds of fun. Play forts and cars and all this stuff. And then send them back and stay out of the way. Because that's what Christ called it. Your job was to raise your child, not your grandchildren, right? And again, I'm just giving you Bible here. I'm not giving you the book of Marty Murr's opinions. That's what the Word of God says. Like, that's your job. Train them up in the way they should go so that when they grow old, they won't depart from it. By the way, they will not. That's a command. Like, they won't do it. They're going to remember this. And be there as a support system. And so as we go into the baby dedication time, Ashley, if you'll come on, go into the baby dedication time, we always give an invitation. Don't matter if we're having church, we're having an invitation, okay? But I want you to kind of think about where you're at in this whole system of the leadership of the church and the house. Are you actively serving Christ and saying, me and my house will serve the Lord? Or are you actively observing the Lord? Two completely different things. Are you raising your child in the way that they should go? Are you being imitators of Christ in your home? Or are they getting some of that Marty Murr leadership there where it's untelling what they may do at school because they're getting to watch all kinds of ungodliness on TV? Right? But again, it's a funny story, but the truth is, I never thought anything of it. Right? This was stuff I watched when I was a kid. He's 4 years old. But it was at that moment that God spoke to me and was like, look, everything you do, when you lose your temper, you better make sure that you take that moment to go apologize. Because guess what? They need to learn that, yeah, sometimes people are going to get mad and lose their temper. They also need to learn how to apologize. When you have some kind of situation, they need to learn that it's okay to talk out that situation. But most importantly, they need to learn that Christ is the example. If you enjoyed that message, then you'll want to check out this video for more biblical truths. You can help spread the gospel by clicking the like button or even consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next one.